T, you know this feeling when you drive through Europe,
Yes.
the older villages, for example here in Romania, in the north, Transylvania.
Yes.
And you get this sense that there's beauty all around you. And you compare that to the modern world, where there's this complete lack of cohesion in architecture and this anonymity, and the styles are the same across the globe essentially.
Well, it's extremely upsetting. I read a book, a fictional book you may have read, Bram Stoker's Dracula, fictional novel. But it opened my eyes to something. Back in the 1850s, when these people were in Transylvania and they're describing this place, they're even describing the people who lived there as distinctly different from other groups who also lived there. They're explaining, oh, this group of Hungarians said this, these group of Slovaks in their traditional dress and their big black hats were dressed this way. And traditional dress and traditional architecture need to be embraced because it's all going down the toilet. And even 12 years ago, 13 years ago, when I was first getting rich enough to buy cars, I'd buy them in England and I'd drive them to Slovakia where I lived, or to Romania where I moved 10 years ago. And as you crossed countries' borders, you'd see distinct changes in everything. I mean,
the people, the architecture, the customs, the food,
even the police cars, what they sell at gas stations. You know, I was always on the lookout for police cars. I wasn't a criminal, but I did like to drive too fast.
You sound like a politician.
Yeah. However, you would drive from Germany, where the gas stations had pretty good food, into Slovakia, where they had garbage food, into Hungary, where they had the best food in all gas stations. And everything was uniquely different about going to countries. You'd drive from the Hungarian border across to Austria, and maybe you'd stop at a bar for a small beer, because the drinking limit was different. I think this idea of globalization, that every single aspect of every single country needs to be exactly the same. It's multiculturalism as well, that's the danger. Because everybody wants to be able to get a Turkish kebab and drink Russian vodka in their nightclub that looks American in any city in the world. And the dangerous thing about that is, I liken it to alcohol. You're a wine guy, I'm a whiskey guy. Wine's good, right? Whiskey's good. Jägermeister's good and tequila's good for certain occasions. But what do you get when you mix all four of them together? You get shit, and nobody wants to drink.
But you can, if the order is right, it can be okay.
Well, you could pull it off in one night, but if you mix it into one big jug and try to serve it to somebody, they'll say, what the hell have you done? The beautiful wine that was made by the vineyards who made this wine, and the whiskey that was made in Scotland by professional artisans, what you've done is you've ruined them both by trying to mix them together. Yeah. And that's why European separatism and nationalism in each individual country is important, because these didn't come along overnight. Hungary didn't just appear after World War II. These are hundreds of years, thousands of years in the making.
But at the same time, there have been European style developments, there have been European art developments. We do share the same lingual history, and we're part of the same ethnic families. So and that's of course the danger of patriotism gone mad or gone wrong, where you say you're Dutch, so you have to drink beer.
Yeah, I mean, if I was I don't know much about the Netherlands, but sure, people in the Netherlands, probably a lot of them use Italian tailors or British tailors. Why? Because that's fine. Yeah, exactly. And people drink, I won't say Dutch beer. I'm a fan of Czech beer myself.
But our cheese, on the contrary, is great.
I'm not a cheese man, but I did eat a lot of it when I lived there in Alkmaar, the city of cheese. But yeah, borrowing from one another's culture is completely fine, and there's no issue with living in Moscow and wearing an Italian suit. But when you want all the tailors in Moscow to make suits that look exactly like Italian suits, what you're doing is, the Russians can't make suits as well as the Italians, in my humble opinion. So what you're doing is, you're making every country a shitter version of other countries that you could just go to and experience that culture there. Yeah. Why would you drag it all into the same place and have people who aren't good at, say, making cheese in France? It's going to annoy some people.
Yeah. No, that's. But the point about the style is that I think there are two things about it. Which is the first is that people tend to think in terms of change only in political change, whereas all the great movements that we are inspired by, the Renaissance, for example, Romanticism, whatever, they were artistic movements. They were aesthetic movements primarily. And then something followed from it, which was a societal change, economic change, political change. But Renaissance started with sculpture. Yeah. Romanticism started with poetry and music. So isn't that something that our generation is also in need of, in search of, that we need more obviously, being in a democratic age, everybody's thinking about change in terms of, Parliament has to change, or we need to vote differently. But we also need to start dressing differently. We need to develop our own style. We need to develop maybe a new architectural style, something that is vivid, that captures the imagination of people.
Well, you're right, but the yearning for that an intelligent man like you will feel has been hijacked, because not everyone has a high IQ. So if we were to take cultural...
But also by art institutes. Art institutes have been hijacked by postmodernism.
Yes.
And nobody's teaching the classics anymore, so nobody can develop.
And universities have been hijacked, and there are huge cultural movements like the LGBTQ movement that has spread through Europe. So the longing for it is definitely there, but when humans long for something, Andrew once gave the example of the male masculine urge to go out and conquer can be misused by dishonest militaries who will send you to go die in foreign lands that don't benefit your country at all. And the yearning, I guess, for great societal change that's going to massively benefit you and everyone around you can be hijacked by evil people, and it is being done to the point where in Europe right now, I can't think of a single positively European origin cultural shift that's benefiting anyone in the world or spreading anywhere.
But what if you and I were to think of a new jacket?
Okay.
I don't know, something without this, or a particular texture, or something that is distinctly recognizable. It's not weird, it's not ridiculous to wear it. You can wear it in a normal way, but it will inspire all the people that follow you, and maybe other people that follow me and others, to show that they're part of this new generation. Like Mao, the people that were following Mao and all these red things, and the fascists, the brown shirts.
Let's not do it Mao's way.
No, we do it a different way.
There's room for it, and people like me and you should be thinking about it 100%.
And I think also maybe different cars.
Different cars.
I mean, you are, in a way, you are copying the lifestyle of the previous generation.
Yes.
So we need something new.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
We need to bring together designers, artists, maybe architectural geniuses of the new generation. Maybe this can be a general invitation for people. Maybe we should launch a competition. Design something that is uniquely from this generation.
And
it's distinct from previous fashion.
And if we like it, we'll help make it real. We'll help sell it, and that person obviously gets a handsome reward.
And we will build from that.
All right, open challenge, internet, impress me.